Welcome into Real Deal Sports Talk with me, KP. I'm back. We're back from summer break. We took the month of July off. It is August 6, 2017. It is officially football season. I hope everybody is as thankful as I am that it is football season. Football season is the best season of the year by far, undisputed. It is the champion season of all seasons, sports, nature, or otherwise, in my opinion. That's how I see it. That's Real Deal Sports Talk. Welcome in, everybody. The NFL is back. Like I said, the football season is upon us. We had the Hall of Fame game this week with the Cowboys taking on the Cardinals there in Canton, Ohio. Lackluster event. No starters, really. You got to see the rookies on both sides. You know, they're rookies. They made mistakes. They didn't make a lot of great plays. Dallas pulls out the win, 20-18. And really, that's not even the big thing about the weekend. That's the game. That marks, two teams having to have that extra preseason game. But the big part of this weekend is the induction ceremony. Those individuals that the voters see fit to go ahead and move on into the next phase of their career, basically, and make that leap to the ultimate team. And this year we had a good group. Some people might argue that other individuals should have been in this year. I agree. I have individuals that I would have rather seen on this list than those that got in this year. Not to say that the people on this list aren't deserving to be in. They all had great careers. Kenny Easley, Jason Taylor, Morton Anderson, Terrell Davis, LaDainian Tomlinson, Jerry Jones, and Kurt Warner. I would have liked to have seen Pat Bowlen got in this time around. I think Terrell Owens should have gotten in this time around. But it's going to be moving forward. It's one of those things, the voters will see how it goes. You never know. Sometimes you got the Hall of Very Good that gets into the Hall of Fame. Sometimes you get the Hall of Fame that, only has to stay in the Hall of Very Good. This year's class, though, most underrated for me personally. I always thought of him as a good player, but never really thought of him as a Hall of Fame type guy while he was playing. And his numbers are there for sure. That's Jason Taylor. Really underappreciated player for me. I like that a kicker got in Morton Anderson because next year my Lions have Jason Hanson. He's eligible to get in next year, and to me he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He leads one of the most historic franchises in the NFL in scoring. He was a kicker for over 20 years. He was one of the best kickers in the league for over 20 years, and he still holds records, but that's for another day, another discussion. Terrell Davis, some people want to knock him for a short career. Well, okay, knock him for the short career. Let's just then look at what he did in the playoffs. Hall of Famer just on his playoff resume alone. LaDainian Tomlinson, third all-time in touchdowns scored, but just behind Jerry Rice and Emmitt Smith. Jerry Jones, we know what he's done for the league as far as business partnerships and moving along that bottom dollar. Also being the owner why they won some championships there in Dallas. And Kurt Warner, probably the greatest story in this year's Hall of Fame class. I had the privilege this year, since Real Deal Sports Talk worked with the Colorado Crush, of calling games for the Iowa Barnstormers. And, it was fun to try and imagine some of those guys making it to the league. And the IFL has had a couple players get picked up on NFL rosters for camp. We'll see if any of those guys are able to make the jump and do what Kurt Warner did there. Pretty special story. It just shows that, if it's something that you really want, something that you enjoy, that makes you happy, just keep grinding, keep pushing away at it. Take your opportunities where they come. And, maybe good things will happen when you get your chance. You just can't ever give up. And that's basically what the story of Kurt Warner was. He never gave up. He took jobs doing what he had to do to pay the bills and take care of his family while still trying to pursue his football dreams. He worked at grocery stores and various places to make that happen. And he took opportunities as they came along. And when Trent Green went down with that injury, That opportunity presented itself, and Kurt Warner never really looked back. Now, his story, to me, might turn out a little different, right? His story, if it ends in New York, we might not be looking at Hall of Fame Kurt Warner right now. He might have had to wait a little longer, or he might not have got in at all. Really, what definitely sealed his ticket to me was his time there in Arizona after he came back from that horrible season, or two, maybe two for sure, there with the Giants, where it just didn't go well. They brought in Eli. But what he was able to do there in Arizona, leading them down there to the Super Bowl, and the winning nature had come back, really just set him in the Hall of Fame bracket for me. That did it. Yeah, he had some special seasons there with the Rams, but those teams were loaded. Who knows how much of that was him and how much of that was the combination of everything, kind of like the USC effect there in the early 2000s, how they were so good together at USC, but as some of those pieces started breaking off on their own in the NFL, we saw that it was more of a collection of talent than overall talent, if that makes sense. But the Hall of Fame weekend, it's something I always like. It's definitely a bucket list item for me to make it to a Hall of Fame weekend, make it to an induction ceremony, see the Hall of Fame, see the field, and really maybe even make a broader trip of that and see some of the original cities that the original NFL teams were in. For instance, my Lions. I would love to go through Portsmouth, Ohio, and just check out where the Lions franchise started, and maybe try and find some history on the Portsmouth Spartans, which was the original name of the club. That'd be cool to me. And some of the other teams that started in the Ohio area under smaller cities, and take that tour on top of visiting the Hall of Fame. Definitely a bucket list thing for me. And should be for just about any NFL fan, I'd imagine, just to get out there, see who from your team, maybe who from your local area grew up and was able to reach that level of success. And the Hall of Fame weekend, the Hall of Fame game, that leads us into what everybody, wants to debate about. How much of it do we need? Do we need more? Do we need less? Should the starters play? And that's preseason football. And everybody has a strong opinion when it comes to, it feels like, when it comes to preseason football, whether it's because of the money that can be made and how the tickets cost the same as in the regular season at some stadiums, whether it's the amount of extra time that these veterans are being exposed to unnecessary hits and unnecessary contact, unnecessary stress, whether more of that time should be spent on getting these rookies developed and seeing and evaluating talent more, and what you have in your veterans. And that holds true pretty much, except for when you have a new coaching staff. Say you're the Denver Broncos and you're bringing in Vance Joseph. Sure, you kind of know what the veterans have. You've seen them on tape. Maybe you've coached against them to this point in your career. But until you have the chance to evaluate them yourself in your system, right? How they're going to fit in what you're trying to do there. What talent you have and how you might be able to best suit that within what you know how to coach best. That would definitely be a hindrance to the idea that those veterans don't need that time. Now, me, myself, KP, I'm going to keep it real with you. You know that. I think the preseason needs to be shortened up. I don't think we need 4 preseason games. I don't think we need teams playing 5 preseason games. Okay? I say you give them 2 weeks to practice and get ready. You have your first preseason game. You have maybe a second, and then the third game where it's more live action, right? And that live action game is where your starters get ready for week 1, whether that's the second game or the third game, okay? So your first game, you bring in everybody you need the most evaluation. Game, action, live action, game action, reps, tape on, so you can make those evaluations. That's the whole first game. Nobody else sees the field but those players. Second game, Those players see the field most of the second game. Then you get your starters, maybe some of your second string guys that are nursing injuries or coming off of something, and you get them some reps in that game. Okay, get them some reps early, maybe even into halftime. Okay, then in that third game, you're going to bring your starters in. You're going to treat that like a regular game, all game week, and then fourth quarter, you decide if you need to see anybody else, and at that point you put them into that second or third end of that game, and you get that extra tape on anybody you might need before final cuts. That's what I think needs to happen. That's a total of a 4 to 5 week training camp before the regular season kicks off, not 5 to 6 weeks. I think you need to get some of the hitting back into camp for sure. These guys need to hit more. They need to be practicing tackling technique. Offensive linemen for sure benefit a lot. You listen to experts talk about offensive line. You listen to Mark Schlereth. You listen to names are escaping me right now. But listen to the commentators on CBS, on ESPN, on NBC Sports. On Bleacher, on pick your network, basically. They're going to talk about how the offensive line play, the blocking, has been steadily decreasing over the years since the amount of contact days have gone down. And I can understand that. I believe that. As a former player myself, if I can't practice those skills, if I can't get physical, if I can't practice the hand placement in live action with pads on, with the bodies trying to get away from me, I can't hone that skill in on a dummy that doesn't move. I can't hone that skill in knowing my assignment by studying the playbook and watching tape. So I want to see that stuff come back. I want to see preseason football matter a little bit. I want it to seem like there is an evaluation going on, and this isn't a predetermined, we know our 53 before the games start, and really, if something jumps out at us, we're willing to take a look. From a fan's point of view. Now, there's a lot that goes into it. These guys put in a ton of hours. Some of them are in shop 18 hours a day. Some of them don't leave some days. They'll sleep on a little cot or on a couch in their office and wake up, watch some more tape, drink some coffee, and keep it going. But that's what I think needs to happen with the preseason. The importance of it, it's a moneymaker. For some of these tickets to be going at the same price as regular season ticket games, and you're not even seeing the regular season product, you're not seeing a version of football that is set out to try and win a game. You're seeing a version of football that's basically a scrimmage where they're trying out scenarios and what happens here, and if we did this, what's the defense going to do? Let's just see what happens type football. Importance for that is to the league. That's to the owners. That's not to the fans. That's not to the players. And I really don't think that's to the coaches in their evaluation process. I think they can have it wrapped up pretty much within 2 or 3 weeks of preseason live action games. You allow them to hit, instead of 10 or 12 days, bump that to 15 to 18 days over the entirety of training camp, right? During the season, allow it once per week at least. I think it helps the product, technique-wise. All of a sudden, maybe less guys are getting hurt and less neck injuries, okay? There's been a big push for that. Well, you got to give them time to practice it. And the only way to truly practice it is in live action. This 50% stuff does not translate when you go live action. Guys might try. They might try to remember. They might try and break down and go, okay, I got to do this here. In the back of their mind as they're getting ready to make that play. But when it comes right down to it, they need that opportunity to make the change in tackling technique, in blocking technique, so that this game that I love, that I hope you love, that my listeners love, that I hear feedback about people loving, can stick around and not just turn into NFL flag. I appreciate flag football. I like playing flag football. I worked with national flag football. It is a needed niche. It is a needed sport. but I don't want to see contact football go away. That's my take on that. Let me know how you guys feel about it. Reach out. Reach out on Facebook, okay? Reach out to Real Deal Sports Talk with KP on Facebook. Reach out to us at our Twitter feed, at Real Deal KVP. Get at us. Let us know what you think. Here in a minute, when we get into the quarterback drama and we start talking about Cap, I'm going to share some opinions of some of my friends as we debated this Kaepernick situation this week. But we got some information real quick for everybody who's listening. All right. With that sound being ready, here we go. We got some big information. Big information. All right. That's just being goofy. All right. Big information right now. The Real Deal Sports Talk with KP Fantasy League through NFL.com is back. If you are interested, you can check out all of this info I'm getting ready to read off is on the website. So just go to realdealsportstalkwithkp.com and you'll be able to find all of this information I'm getting ready to read off. I will also share this out on our Facebook page as well as our Twitter feed. If you follow us on Google+, it will be there also. All right, so if you are interested in taking on Real Deal Sports Talk with KP, your boy KP, last year's regular season champion, okay? We lost in the championship game to the Dirt Cannon. We're going to try and take them out this year, see if they come back. We're calling you out right now, Dirt Cannon. They were the official fantasy partner of Real Deal Sports Talk. So if you out there listening, bring it. We ready for you this year. We're ready to take the regular season and the postseason title this year. Here's the information on how you can participate, okay? You're going to go to fantasy.nfl.com/registration/private league join ? League ID equals 4104680. When you get into there, once you're into the fantasy football area, our league ID is 4104680. The league password is RDST2017. That's all you got to do. If you're interested, if you're feeling froggy, if you want to take me on, you want to take on KP, come get some. We'll see what you got at the end of the day, at the end of the season, all right? That's real talk. We'll have our draft live on September 2nd. It's going to be at 6:30 at night on September 2nd. We'll do a live show through as much of the draft as we can get to before we have to be off air. And look forward, if you're joining the league, I'll be communicating with you. I'll be sharing out posts. So it was fun last year. We had a good time, and we'd like to get some more teams this year. So definitely check it out if you're interested. It's definitely going to be fun. There's one story I want to talk about. Tell me what this makes you think of. Athletics, you hear this sound, what one guy comes to your mind? Now, what I'm talking about right there, and I'm not talking about a guy driving a car, okay? I'm not talking about a guy flying a plane. I'm not talking about a guy riding a horse. You got one guy. This sound. Who do you think of? This is a sound and a guy we're not going to see anymore. We're not going to see competing anymore. He is a GOAT. He is the greatest of all time. He went out in third place in his final world championship this year, and that is Usain Bolt, the sprinter, the all-time greatest sprinter there ever has been. Okay, to this point. Somebody might knock him off, but to this point, ain't nobody done it better than he has, okay? Dating back to 2008, okay? We're talking 9 years. He has gotten first in every 100 meter, 200 meter, and 4x100 meter. Outside of the time he was disqualified in 2011 he was, let's see, disqualified in the 100 meters in 2011, and that was the one where he had the illegal start, right? So he didn't even get to race. And then World Championships, he got second in the relay, 4x100 relay in 2015. Outside of those two, he has gotten first in every sprint event that he's been in since 2008. And then this year's World Championship, unfortunately, the GOAT goes out in third place. Now, this is a guy, I have to say, as impressive as that is, as much as he is the reason I watched the sprint events at the Olympics for the past, 3 Olympics. He's a guy I think could have done better. Okay, he has a 9.58 world record. I believe he could run faster. Okay, he did a 150 meter race in England in 2014, and the last 100 meters of that race he ran in 8.7 seconds. 8.7 seconds. 100 meters. 300 feet. The length of a football field. 8.7 seconds. He has the 2 fastest times. He's tied with 2 other guys for the 3rd fastest time. Tyson Gay and Johan Blake at 9.69. His 9.63, he doesn't even sprint through the line. He ran that 9.63, what year was that? In 2012 at the Olympics. That's the Olympic record right now. His 200 meter record, 19.19 seconds. I never thought I'd see anybody break Michael Johnson's record in that event at 19.32. 19.19 seconds in the 200 meters. The man was fast. The man was great. He's got a cocky attitude. He does. He's a performer. He loves to put smiles on people's face. He gives a ton of money back to the island of Jamaica. He is a mega celebrity down there. He puts his money where his mouth is. I hope he continues to be some kind of ambassador to athletics, some kind of ambassador to the island and country of Jamaica. I truly enjoyed being able to watch him compete, being able to marvel and wonder in his athletic prowess. It was truly impressive, truly impressive. And I got into sprinting watching Michael Johnson, him in the 90s, a little bit with Carl Lewis there in the late 80s, but it didn't really hook me, right? I got hooked with Michael Johnson, and Usain Bolt made me a fan of the sprints. Now let's see if some of these young bucks coming up, if Justin Gatlin, who's approaching the end of his career, can keep everybody interested in this event that really is remarkable, and Usain Bolt really is the greatest of all time. Let's switch gears. We're going to switch gears. We need to take it another way, because we haven't talked about baseball yet. We talked about baseball a little bit in the spring. We're jumping off the greatest of all time in sprint. We're coming back to the sport that is the longest sport, right? The season is the longest, has the most games. Things are heating up. Things are going big in baseball right now. We're getting to where you can kind of start figuring out the playoff race a little bit. I know it's early in August. A lot of things can still happen through all of August and September before we get there in October. But it's at that time where you can kind of see where we're going. So we're going to do a little Major League Baseball update real quick. All right, with that, let's just go ahead. We'll start with the standings. As we talk about the standings, the first thing I got to say, we're going to start with the NL West. And we're going to start with the NL West pure and simply because of the Los Angeles Dodgers. All right, we talked about this division I don't know, back in May maybe. And I was telling you, I didn't see what everybody else saw on the Dodgers. I didn't see all the talent at that point. Now, they've had some guys come up. They had their young stud come up, Bellinger, and, the best pitcher's down right now. But it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter that Kershaw's not there. It doesn't matter that they traded for Yu Darvish, who isn't having one of his better statistical years and really hasn't pitched all that well against National League teams in his career. Because Kershaw's going to come back. This team just keeps winning. They're 43-7 over their last 5 games. Their last 50 games, excuse me. Nobody has performed that good since 1912. That's the last time that had been accomplished over a 50-game span in all of Major League Baseball. 43-7 over their last 50. That puts them atop of the NL West. A 15-game lead over the Colorado Rockies currently, who are sitting at 64-48. And they would be leading at least 2 or 3 other divisions in baseball. But they're 15 games back from the Dodgers. Unbelievable how well the Dodgers are playing this season. Barring some catastrophe, they, in my mind, are 100% headed towards the World Series. Rockies, hometown Rockies here in Colorado, they're having a remarkable season. They look like they're headed towards the playoffs. But they're sitting in the same division as this juggernaut who is just running through everybody on the year. The Chicago Cubs are leading the Central right now. They've turned it on after the All-Star game. They're sitting at 58-52. There's a team, they would be in 4th place in the NL West, and they are leading the Central Division. The Nationals, they would be sitting in 2nd place in the NL West. Also 14 games back of the Dodgers. They have 65 wins leading the NL East. Over on the American League side, the Houston Astros, they're looking like they are the Dodgers' counterpart right now. They're sitting at 71-40 in the AL West with a 14-game lead, real similar to the Dodgers and what they're doing in the West. The Central, Cleveland, 59 wins. Again, they'd be in 4th place in the NL West. Boston Red Sox, 63 wins. They'd be in 3rd place in the NL West. Okay? It's crazy what's going on right now in baseball with the Los Angeles Dodgers. If you haven't paid attention to some of the young studs on these teams, which we're getting ready to talk about as we talk about the stats and the league leaders, check it out at this time of year, because this is where, for me, it starts to get exciting. It starts to matter more. The first 2/3 of the season are over, and it's something that for the casual fan is easier to watch and more exciting to watch, because you got through over 100 of the 162 games already. All right, so American League leaders, you got top 2 batting average leaders, both on Houston. Cha-ching, that's why they are doing what they're doing. Jose Altuve batting .364 on the American League side, and of course there is a Los Angeles Dodger leading the average on the NL side, Justin Turner at .347. Home run leaders, you got Aaron Judge, the young giant rookie of the New York Yankees, 35 home runs on the season right now, leading the American League and leading all of baseball. Giancarlo Stanton of the Miami, are they still the Marlins? God, I forget. I've called them Miami for so long, I forget the team name. Yes, they are the Marlins. 36 home runs for him. Oh, that's funny. Cody Bellinger, the Dodger stud, 31 home runs for that rookie. And he's in 2nd place in the National League with those 31 home runs. It's really just been impressive this year. Runs batted in, Nelson Cruz, he has 84, leading all of baseball by a wide margin. Nolan Arenado of the Colorado Rockies, he's got 98. He's playing MVP baseball. If you haven't seen Nolan Arenado, turn into a Rockies game, watch some highlights. This kid is balling out. Should have been the MVP last year. Should be the MVP this year. We'll see how the voting goes. Win Current win totals for pitchers. AL leader is tied for first. You got Chris Sale of Boston and Justin Vargas of Kansas City. On the NL side, even though he's now been out for over a week, you got Clayton Kershaw with 15. Earned run, you got Chris Sale at 2.7, tied with James Paxton of Seattle. And on the NL, Clayton Kershaw looking like he's going for another Cy Young Award this year, even though he'll be out with his back injury for a little while longer, as they try and take it easy on him right now. And he's leading all of baseball with his 2.04 ERA. Save leaders, Greg Holland of Colorado leads all of baseball with 34, and Alex Colome of Tampa Bay has 33 on the AL side. Again, if you guys are casual baseball fans, this is the time of year where I really like to tune in and I like to pay attention, because it's more fun, it's more interesting to me. I know it's starting to matter more. There's starting to be more pressure involved, technical difficulty, things of that nature. So, that's how the divisions stand. If you want to check out the Dodgers, check them out, because all they do is win. And those are your league leaders. So, if some of those names ring a bell, if some of those names intrigue you and you want to check them out, go check them out. Check out the end of the season. We'll be reporting on them throughout the rest of the year now, as football gets going, as baseball wraps up, and of course right into when basketball and hockey will kick off. And that'll lead us into our last segment of the show, and that is the quarterback drama that is the NFL. That's right. The NFL has quarterback drama. I can't go as far as to say that the quarterbacks are divas, but there's a lot of drama surrounding quarterbacks in the NFL right now. Biggest of which, obviously, Colin Kaepernick situation, right? Colin Kaepernick situation overlaps with the Flacco situation, overlaps with the Tannehill situation. Maybe it's going to overlap with the Bortles situation. We got Richard Sherman commenting on it. Malcolm Jenkins putting his 2 bits out there. Mark Cuban, the Dallas Mavericks owner, he's had his words. Other NBA players are speaking out about it. It overlaps the big breaking news today with Jay Cutler signing with Miami. It's something that I talked with some friends and communicated with some people this week about. We've talked about Kaepernick on this show before. I am impressed with the young man. I think he's doing exactly what he should be doing. Everybody wants athletes to be role models and take a stance. You're not always going to agree with every stance that every famous person makes. They don't owe you that either, okay? He's not making a racial stance. Let me get that out there right now. This is not a white versus black issue that he is making. He is pointing out the inequity of black males, young black males, that are attacked, beaten, and shot by our law enforcement. He is also bringing to light that happens to all people. This is a problem in this country. It is a problem. It doesn't matter your skin color. And he took a very effective way of making sure that everybody became woke to that situation. He took a route that most people will not take. He hurt his own pocketbook. He hurt his own future for the good of us all. Some people want to say he helped fund a domestic terrorist group because he gave $1 million to Black Lives Matter. Guess what? They do. All lives matter. But not all lives statistically are treated as those African American individuals in this country are. There's no way around that. You can't dispute the statistical proof. The profit prisons, sentencing that goes completely harsh and horrible for someone with brown skin, and not the same way for someone with white skin. I'm white. I can't begin to fully imagine or understand what it would feel like to know every day that the people that are there to serve and protect could quite possibly take you out. It's an issue. It's one that's going to cause you to either be super emotional and have a problem with it. You're going to defend one side. You're going to take one side. It's very polarizing. I understand that. That aside, let's just look at ability to play the game of football. Is he a top 32 quarterback? Meaning, is he one of the top starters in the league? Maybe not. Maybe not. Richard Sherman likes to say otherwise. He gave a list of people he believes Colin Kaepernick is better than, including Ryan Fitzpatrick, anybody currently playing for the Jets, Jacksonville's quarterback in Bortles. Malcolm Jenkins says it's cowardly for these owners not to be taking a chance to bring him into camp because they're scared of a financial kickback or some kind of protest that might happen. That's another stance. There's another stance out there that why is this being hit so hard for a political reason, but the NFL is willing to let so many domestic violence offenders back into the league, or so many drunk drivers who have run people over or killed somebody back into the league, or people who have committed crimes are okay to come back into the league and to play. There's the argument that, okay, well, the distraction is greater than the ability. There's what I believe is that he's being blackballed for his decision to make this stance, unpopular stance. A stance that people view is against the country and don't realize is a way of getting everybody's attention to start the conversation. Oh, he could have done it in another way. Yeah, sure he could have. He could have done it in a million other ways. But that storyline goes away real quick in this country. It's not selling papers. It's not getting those ad hits online. What got ad hits, what got people's attention was taking a knee for the song that everybody, and the fabric that everybody, so many people feel so strongly about. Because of something that is wrong in this country that can be fixed. But instead, we all want to divide ourselves and pull influences and go, oh no, I'm on the cop side, I'm on the white guy's side, I'm on the brown guy's side. This is something that affects everybody. This is a people thing, damn it. And he knew that. He made that choice. Ultimately, if he doesn't get a chance and he doesn't get signed, he knew that was a possibility. But the idea that he's not even a top 64 guy, that he's not good enough to be your backup and come off your bench to help you, that his ability isn't that good to be able to help you, that his distraction, which he has stated he will not kneel anymore because that conversation has been started. What distraction are you scared of? Those people who don't like brown people? I'm going to be real right now. This is my opinion. Call me out if you want to. We'll have a conversation about it. Ultimately, what it comes down to, here's the other side. Here's the big thing. Business. It's green. That's the color that matters here. It's not the red, white, and blue. It's not white versus black. This is a green issue. These $1 million owners are not going to take a chance of losing $1 million, $2 million, $5 million. Potentially by putting this guy on their team, hurting jersey sales or ticket sales or concession sales, or having negative press outside with protesters. This group that wants to boycott the NFL, 29,000 people, you're going to protest if Colin Kaepernick doesn't get signed? You're ridiculous. That's stupid. You're forgetting the green is the problem. If they felt, I had a friend tell me this is similar to the Tim Tebow situation. And I said, you know what, there's a little bit different situation here. The owners were okay with the Tebow distraction because he kept making them money. That's why he's a New York Met now. He makes money. He may be a distraction and bring all the press and the Tebow mania and all that, but as long as their money wasn't hurt, he was going to continue to get signed by anybody who was willing to bring him onto a team. Now, once teams were not willing to let him play quarterback anymore, he wasn't willing to be on the teams that were willing to bring him in with the distraction. So he went away. Then he went on to say, hey, my real dream was to play baseball. So who knows about Tim Tebow? Tim Tebow, in my mind, okay, yeah, he could be a top 64 quarterback, but he was nowhere near ever being a top 32 guy. This is a green issue. He's going to potentially hurt the pocketbook, and that's not going to happen. So they're going to put excuses out there. They're not going to bring him in. Coaches are going to have to try and answer questions as to why. Why Flacco goes down, Ryan Mallett throws all these interceptions, you don't bring in Kaepernick. Well, potentially we're getting some resistance there from the owner, depending on what reports you want to believe. Tannehill goes down. Do they call Cap? No. They call the retired Jay Cutler. I've had a relationship with him, Adam Gase. We're going to bring in Cutler first. Cutler signs for $10 million. Cap still's not getting a chance. Again, I go back to he knew this was going to happen. Unpopular opinion, strong stance that needed to be taken. I salute you. Bortles, down in Jacksonville. I'm sorry, he's not picking up the game. Why wouldn't you bring in a guy who's led a team to a Super Bowl? I get it was in one system. I get it he's not a pocket passer. I get it he's not the best. But are you telling me it's not worth seeing him compete against Bortles to see? Really? Mark Cuban saying that the protests wouldn't affect the NBA. I can see that a little more with certain clubs. But yes, it would have. Those owners still would have had problems. There still would have been owners that wouldn't have been willing to deal with it. There still would have been players that didn't feel the same way. No locker room. Everybody is, one mind. Here's all my political and faith-based and all these different beliefs that we all have. It doesn't work that way. This is a very multi-level issue, and that's the biggest thing I got out of talking to people about this, is that it's not simple. It's not just one thing. There's many factors that are playing into why he is not on a team right now, or how I like to say is being blackballed from the league for his opinions and his choices. Now again, we'll see if he ever gets another chance. He might not. But I hope he continues to put his money where his mouth is. And I hope a whole lot of people really take notice of what he's doing. Because Colin Kaepernick right now is a true role model. By sending money to Somalia, by sending money to Meals on Wheels after our president decided to cut funding, by sending money overseas, by donating his suits to the poor, by donating his shoe collection to people who didn't have shoes, 200 pairs of shoes, 100 suits. He's putting his money where his mouth is. Feel how you feel about the way he chose to bring up the conversation, but at some point, choose to have the conversation. We all need to have the conversation. That's Real Deal Sports Talk. Thanks for listening. Sorry we got political. We'll be back on Saturday. We'll keep it sports as much as we can. I appreciate my listeners. And until next time, you know how we do. Keep it real.